Everyone, my name is Tanner with AGTA, and we are just about to get going with this week's Spectrum Awards interview with Michael Tope of Raintree out of Vermont. So if you can give us a few moments for Michael to get on, that would be fantastic. Hey everyone, let's see. Thank you everyone for popping in. We are going to get started with the interview with Michael Tope out of Raintree. He is the first place winner of this past year's Spectrum Awards for the evening wear category. Let's see. I don't think I've seen Raintree come in yet, so just give us a moment. Let me see. There we go. Here's a request. All right, go. Hey there, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for popping on. I trust it wasn't too much trouble.
No, we figured it out pretty easily.
All right. Great to hear. Well, so for everyone who is listening or watching, actually, in this case, this is Michael Tope of Raintree. They're out of Vermont, and he was the 2020 AGTA Spectrum Awards winner, first place winner of the evening wear category. So congratulations, Michael. And I want to say this was your second AGTA Spectrum Award, right?
Yes, we won in 2018. We won a manufacturing honors for our kaleidoscope ring.
Right, right. And that was with was an aquamarine on top with like a ruby set underneath it.
Yeah, it was an old European cut aqua, and then had a ruby under it that reflected up into the stone. And that was actually our first year we entered.
Ah, nice. I love hearing those stories. We had a few of those people this year as well. That first year ever entering and coming out with some victory. So,
Super nice feeling. We feel very honored to have won that and to have won first place this year also.
Yeah, yeah. So, what made you guys want to enter this year?
This year, well, when we won in 2018, we were like, okay, we're gonna win. We're gonna keep entering and hopefully several pieces a year. We entered in 2019 and didn't win. And this year, it's been such a crazy year.
Mm-hmm.
We were thinking, okay, it's so crazy. There's not going to be that many entries, and so maybe we'll have a better chance in a smaller pool, which turned out obviously to be not the case. But no, we feel it's one of those things we're just going to enter every year because it's a good creative outlet, and it's the validation you get from winning it's very nice.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. And funny enough, we were going into 2020, that Spectrum competition, we were curious to see a lot of the what the industry, how they were going to engage and what our entries were going to be like. But, we had 20% more entries. So, only makes the victory that much better for you, right?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, if there were going to be less entries, or maybe like everyone's home with this pent-up creativity and they're going to turn out just some like...
You were hoping?
Everybody did. I mean, everybody that won, some amazing work.
Oh, it definitely was. Like, it was just fantastic. That's one of my favorite jobs. Like, I feel like we're a pretty small company, so you kind of become a little bit of a jack of all trades, helping out in all different areas. But mostly I do run our social media and email marketing, all that kind of stuff. But it's always fun when it's Spectrum time and I get to open up all the pretty pieces and the jewelry, and it's always like, I don't want to say you get jaded by the fact that this is like the best of the best. Like, that the industry has to offer, but it just goes to show, and we'll pop up your piece in just a moment, but just the absolute creativity everybody brings to it is just always spectacular. And there's rarely do you ever see like the same thing twice, or it's just mind-boggling what people come up with, at least from where I'm sitting.
No, it'd be very hard to be a judge because I mean it's just to see the photos of the pieces is one thing, but to actually be able to handle them and feel them, and it's just, wow, that must be awesome.
It is. It is definitely one of the parts of my job I really appreciate. All right, so hold on. I'm going to, before we get too far in, so that everyone can see what it was that you won. I'm trying to pull it up. Last week I was having some issues with getting the picture to come up during the interview itself. And it looks like, so I updated my phone right before this, hoping that would resolve it, but I haven't pulled up on my computer. So I'll just flip my camera around so that everyone can see it. Looks like I'm having the same stuff going on. So hold on, let me go to the first picture and flip around. All right, so here is the first place winner this year. And now tell me all about, there's a lot going on, but it all works fantastically. Like, it was spectacular, at least for holding one of those. I mean, you could feel the quality. And one thing, for those who are listening, just like a little inside scoop behind the scenes. So we have five judges, and they were all talking about with this piece, just the quality and craftsmanship around the whole piece. Like they made a big point of that one when they were talking about giving this piece the first place of evening wear. So, Michael, tell me about what it was like to make this piece, the creativity behind it. What was that process like for you?
The main stone, the rubellite, was cut by Nolan Sponsler.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I had just kind of been chatting back and forth on Instagram about doing a collaboration for a while, and he had reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to work with one of my stones for a spectrum piece? And I was like, sure. And so he sent a stone like sight unseen, and it's an absolutely spectacular stone. And so one of the, most of us in the business, one of the first things you do when you get a rather large gemstone is you kind of set it on your hand in the crease of your hands like this, and
yep,
kind of look at it like that. And I did that, and that was just the feeling I got from that, is kind of where I wanted it to sit. It's got a lot of girth to it, and so my thought was if we did a piece where it was on the top centerpiece, it would probably be really, really top heavy piece. And so really the cut of the stone really worked between your fingers where they fit together. So and then we have some of our kind of our trade brand ideas that we wanted to add into it. We do a lot of suspended bezels with rose cut settings, and the turquoise inlay on the side. That is something that we do a lot of. That is our look. So we wanted to incorporate some of those, and we just started playing around with it. I actually had a completely different idea for the back part of the shank, and after spending a few days on that, it just was not kind of getting the vibe that I wanted. And so I had this as a kind of a backup, and I started working on that and kind of roughed it out in a model. And it worked great. Nolan cut the center stone, all the Montanas on the back. We wanted to use Montanas. Montanas are really hot right now. We thought it'd be a good look. Tim Rourke supplied us with all the Montanas across the back.
Okay.
And then John Bradshaw cut the that beautiful elongated pear sapphire that's on the other side.
Let me go back to that picture. There we go.
Yeah.
So you really pulled in the full, like all AGTA members on this piece.
Yeah. Personally, I love pears. We do a lot of pear shapes, and there's so many pears have so many different personalities, and so I reached out to John, and he'd happened to have this, and it was literally it was the perfect length and shape that I was looking for. So it worked out great.
Yeah, and interesting you mentioned the pairs this year because that, like being, one of the people in the room where you get to see all of these pieces laid out, like all 400 plus pieces, not just the winners, but pairs really dominated this year. Where, and I don't always know why, like, why from my perspective, but maybe you have a little bit better of an inside scoop of maybe like how pairs have kind of evolved. But this year we saw a big uptick in pairs that we haven't pairs that we haven't seen nearly as much in previous years.
It's aesthetically pleasing, and for most colored stones, it just really lends well
Mm-hmm.
to because the spread of the color across the cut. So it's one of our favorites.
Well, that's fantastic. So let's see. So you talked about, so what, actually, let's go back to, you were talking about the modeling of how you had a different idea in mind. So when you're going through and you're, modeling these pieces, trying to get your full creative idea out, are you actually like you doing this in wax? Are you actually making the full piece and then starting over? Like I know some people are big drawers.
We first off, we don't do anything by CAD. We do everything by hand.
Right.
And we're not big drawers. We have Shannon and I have both been jewelers pretty much all our lives, and we have a really good three-dimensional view of what it is we want to see on something like this, because I knew there was a lot at play between the setting on the back and the inlay on the sides, and this is kind of it's a Cinderella ring. So I wanted to make sure we had the size. The concept did not end up being like a size 9.5 or a size 4.5. So I did a rough out wax on just the back part. And after I kind of had a good feel for proportions and taper and depth, we went on and cut one that was the part that we used.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know that this piece made me speechless when I opened it up. So I'm hoping that the audience is feeling the same way. And found a lucky buyer yet?
No, not yet. We do. We have a couple of customers that are interested. We've kind of kept it to ourselves because we were hoping that the Tucson show would be scheduled at some point, and we would be able to show it there before.
Yeah.
But no, not as of yet. No, we don't have. We have a couple people that are interested, but like I said, we've kind of like kept it to the side for ourselves for a little bit. And one of those things where it was, we felt so incredibly honored to win. For me, once you spend so much time on a piece like this and designing it, a lot of times when you're finished, you have a cool looking piece, but it looks really cool to you as a jeweler who's been sitting at the bench for 30 plus years, but you don't know how other people are going to interpret it, and who've obsessed on every tiny little detail for so long. It's really nice. It's quite an honor to win first place.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. It's funny that you say that, like, sometimes you want to be a little selfish or hold on to it. I've heard of people in the industry that don't even sell their Spectrum winning piece. Or they're just not hoarding it, but it's like their little you get a trophy, you said your trophy, I want to say it might be in the mail, like literally right now, but it's like they're like, it's like alongside it, it's like, their little winning piece, it's part of their, I've heard some people hand it down to their family members or things like that, so they kind of keep it, selfishly in the family, but I can't imagine how much work you guys put into it, so it's got to be so rewarding.
No, it is. And something like that, I mean, you're into the hundreds of hours. And our first piece we won, our kaleidoscope in 2018, we decided to keep just because it was the first one we won. And, we had, when we entered in 2018, it really wasn't on our horizon to enter. Eric Fitzgerald from Fitzgerald's Imports was in the store, and it was kind of the first time he'd ever visited our store. And he's like, you guys, have you guys entered any competitions or anything? And we were like, no, we've kind of just had our nose to the grindstone, just pumping stuff out. And we'd showed him one that we'd finished very similar to that. And he's like, you guys you guys have to enter this in the Spectrum Awards. And, why don't we? So Peter Chiraka cut the aqua for that. And so we reached out to him and see if he had like any just killer aqua pieces. And he had a piece that he'd been sitting on that he cut a 10mm round for, and we entered it. And once again, we were incredibly honored that we won, and feel very fortunate.
That's fantastic. So tell me about like this past year then. So you're talking about, what made you guys enter in 2018 and then 2019, but then this year, this past year, what was it like for you guys in, the midst of all the, well, I guess chaos in a way, but, like what was this past year like for you guys?
It's been crazy.
In a good
It is when this first started coming around in like January, and then once the quarantines and lockdowns happened, I was petrified. I'm sure along with a whole lot of other people in the business, and I was thinking, this is like, no one's gonna want to buy jewelry with all this going on. And it turns out when everybody's home in quarantine, everybody's on Instagram. And we feel very fortunate. We've always worked very hard at our social media presence and our content. And we were lucky enough that we really did not slow down that much throughout all of this.
Great to hear.
And it's, one of the wonderful things about social media is you're able to connect with an audience that's so much larger than what you would be in your retail store, wherever that is. In Vermont, which is maybe East Coast, a little more conservative compared to like LA or San Francisco or somewhere like that. So it's great. It has really helped us push the boundaries of our design. And there's always, as a jeweler, there's always like crazy ideas you have, and you think, that would be a really cool piece to make, but it might sit in the case for a while. And cool thing with social media is you can throw it out there, and social media will tell you pretty quickly whether it is you have a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and your sales will follow that too.
Yeah. Well, also, what I want to add on to this, I can definitely tell that you guys have worked on your social media presence, because whenever I do feature you guys on our social media, like, as part of our daily gem campaign, you guys always kill it. And I've never understood fully why. But either you have like one of the most engaged audiences, but our audience just absolutely loves your pieces, because when we post it up, it's like, I know for a fact, like some pieces I'm like, well, this will be interesting. I'm not always sure, but it's like, okay, Rain Tree's going up. It's going to be in the thousands of likes and all that kind of stuff. It's like immediate.
That's nice to hear.
Great.
No, that's nice to hear. We it's a big part of our business. A lot of our traffic comes from there, and we do our own photography too, which is just photography is, I'm self-taught, and something that was definitely not my forte, but it's such an integral part of our business and doing business today. I mean, you really. Like I said, you can reach so many people in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, no, definitely. And especially with I don't I would say that previously, before like the expand of e-commerce and all that kind of stuff, it would probably be hard for a retail, designer to really cast a wide net. But nowadays, if you've got great photography and active social media, and you make it easier for people across the country to shop from you, you may be located in Vermont, but I'm sure you're reaching customers all over.
Oh yeah, the bulk of our online sales are California, Texas, all over the place. It's always very nice, when you're having dinner with your family at 6 p.m. on Sunday, that somebody in California decides to buy a ring from you. It's a good feeling, and it validates the work that you've put in.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And hold on, real quick, let me just, for people who have popped in and missed the beginning, this is Michael Tope of Rain Tree out of Vermont, and he won the first place award in this past year's Spectrum competition of the evening wear category. Let me just pop up again, because I know everyone wants to see what you made. real quick. And then, so this was the piece he made that won first place. And so I guess to kind of, you've shared the process it was like, like what it was like to make this piece and some of your guys' backstory. I guess we can kind of just wrap it up with, is there anything, you've definitely shared some great nuggets with social media and all that. Anything that you'd like to share with our viewers today about any advice, business? Because I know we have a lot of people who tune into this within our industry, and a lot of aspiring designers as well.
I would say if you are thinking of entering the Spectrum Awards, do it. I mean, don't be intimidated there's some very large pieces with some serious amount of money that's been put into and don't be intimidated by that. I mean, there's a new round of judges every year, which is nice. And so sometimes it's the luck of the draw. And it's a great creative outlet, and the validation and the kudos you get from winning, even in the industry and even on a retail level too, really help your business. And for those that are aspiring designers and jewelers out there, I can't say enough. Myself, who started out as a bench jeweler when I was 15, I absolutely love what I do. I look forward to it every day. I spend a lot of time working at the bench, and it's an absolute wonderful craft. If it is something that you have interest in and passion for, follow it. There's many schools out there that you can pick up a little bit of training for, but I know myself from a business owner and a bench jeweler, boy, if there's somebody that's motivated and wants to work, most people will always find a slot for them to help out with some of the grunt work of working at the bench, and it's a great experience.
Yeah, well, I think that's very well said, and thank you for sharing that.
Oh, certainly.
We always get those questions. Today I haven't seen that necessarily question come across, but how to get started in like goldsmithing and all that kind of stuff. But I know it'd definitely be valuable for listeners that are on today. But thank you so much for entering and supporting the competition this year, and thank you for coming on and sharing your creative process and taking the time to share your story with all of our listeners.
Great. Well, thank you, and thanks to AGTA, and thank you all the judges for the picked our piece for first place.
Yeah, of course, and thank you to everyone who tuned in today. We're doing these weekly, so we'll have another person on next week. And thank you just everyone to supporting us. And we really look forward to what you have in store next year, because you said that you plan on now entering every year. So I'll give you a call if we're not,
Oh no, we're on it.
I'll hold you responsible for that one.
Yes, please do.
But again, thank you so much. And we'll be in touch.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Tanner.
All right, thank you.